How's it going, everyone? Today, we are continuing our series of reading Witch of the Wolves by Kaylee Archer. I'm really excited to get into the next phase, the next chapter, chapter 3. That's what we're currently on right now. Where we left off, Lenora, Cordelia's aunt was escorting her to some kind of safety room for her own safety and precaution. So now, as we head into chapter 3, we should see, you know, whatever or not Cordelia was found or, what happened to the aunt, things of that nature. So, buckle your seatbelts. Let's get right into it. Chapter 3. Protective wards are witch spells that can be removed only from inside the house, unless you have the key, which Lenora does. Warding every door and window is slow going, and nearly 30 minutes later, I'm still at it, with sweat trickling down my face. Witches and sorcerers have a well of casting energy. Each spell drains it. The greater the magic, the greater the drain. I won't feel something like a light spell or locked spell. I feel these. Still, I remind myself that most witches my age will have dropped of exhaustion on the second floor. I spent half my life working to deepen my well. Well, it's good to know as many spells as possible. It's important to have the reserves to cast them. So I'm guessing when she refers to wells or spells for that matter, she's referring to her pool or her magical. It's like a bottle, like a water bottle. Imagine a water bottle, but bigger, like a stomach, that will hold all of her magic. So that's what I'm going to presume she's abbreviating. Is she's abbreviating to her her magic pool, being pretty big. Well, let's hope that you're right. I'm casting the ward at my bedchamber window when the doorbells ring and the spell stops in my throat. What? Bishop Jan- Bishop Daniels. The name drags 100 questions behind it, flapping like flags, demanding my attention. A werewolf? Working for my father? Is my father a supernatural? Is my thought. What the world did I just say? Is my father a threat? I mean, I don't know. I've been stifling all these questions so I can focus on my casting. Now they rush in, and I slam the porculus against them. I don't know what that means, but if someone knows, you know, there's a comment section below. You could just type it in there. Someone is at the door. Someone who may very well be Bishop Daniels. An inexplicable part of me wants to stride down and throw it open. Demand to know what he wants. Demand answers. Why is she so forceful? Well, to be fair, she's being, hunted. So, I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah, I should know. Hopefully, my toupee is good. You know. Madness, of course, but my aunt was right. Something about Bishop Daniels lured me into a false sense of security. I sensed danger in him, but it was God's save me in an exciting danger, the sort that promises an adventure unlike any you could imagine. That's what I sense, ripping through his intensity. Come with me. I have secrets. I show you another life. A more, a more exciting. Damn it. I really need to stop reading adventure novels. You think? You think? This is like this is like a little kid going to getting tricked by some little candy by a man in a van. Why are you being enticed by that? You're 23. 23 years old. Oh, I'm about to send you on an adventure. Madam, he's the kidnapper. What are we doing here? Not only childish adventure novels, either, when I think of Bishop Daniels, there's another pull there, one that whispers of very adult adventures. The bell rings. A slivery chime, siren calling to me. Dear God, I grit my teeth and give myself a shake. Be sensible, Cordelia. You're always sensible. No, not always, but I can be sensible. So she can be reasonable, but she's just choosing not to. Okay, whatever. I guess. I should retreat to the locked room, run to it. But what if that's not Bishop Daniels? I can't flee to the locked room without having finished the warding. I ease soundlessly down the stairs in my silk slippers when I can see the covered window. I note two heads. Two. Oh, you can't see my hands. Two. 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 I know two heads on the other side, but significantly shorter than Bishop Daniels. Our message boy and a friend. When I catch a female voice, my eyes widen. Audrey? Oh no. Oh yeah. It's over. Please don't tell me. Audrey's at the door. I continue along the hall until the voice comes clear. Not here, Audrey says. She's with the enemy? What's going on here? Heretta's voice answers. She said she was spending the afternoon home with her aunt. A plan isn't an obligation. I understand, Audrey says. But we can't do that if no one is home. Why don't they have a butler or at least a housekeeper? It's very irregular. Audrey laughs softly. Lenora is very irregular. Let's leave a note. I really think Cordelia needs to know. I see that fella before. I felt as if I had, and I should have said so. I chew my lip. I can't imagine what Henrietta would have to say about Bishop Daniels that I need to know right now. But they're on my doorstep. When Lenora claimed I was with them in the botanical gardens, and if anyone's watching the house, I undo the ward. Then, standing behind the door, I open it and whisper inside quickly. Once they're in, I close the door to see Herrera with one brow raised. The constables, I say, someone has been asking questions about my aunt's business, and she swore they were watching the house. Herrera sniffs. The police have nothing better to do than bother women tending to their health. Audrey shakes her head. Since when do men consider our health our own? She looks at me. I didn't see anyone watching. Neither did I. Hirita says, good. Go on go on into the Paylor. I'll lock the door and meet you there. I find Andre and Hereta in the in the Paylor. Andre sits at the solitary board, her fingers dwarfly moving the pieces already caught. Up in a game. Hereta paces, gloves off. Oh, she's serious. As she nibbles a finger. What the? Ew. That's nasty. I don't get people who bite their fingernails. I ain't gonna lie. That's some nasty stuff. Just use a nail clipper. If not, just use your hands. I'm sorry, but you using your teeth, the one that you use your mouth with, no. What are you doing? Like, what are we doing here, man? Using your fingernails as some kind of chew board. That's disgusting. Is everything all right? I ask. I noticed him before. Hereta blurts, the man who stopped you today. He was lying when he said he was looking for someone else. I saw him yesterday at the seamstress. He passed the window 3 times. And I noticed him because she clears her throat. He's not unattractive. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. I've seen better, Andre says, not glancing up from her board. There's a look about him I don't like. He makes me uneasy. Well, you better get out of there, Andre, because, like I said, this man, he's a werewolf and you're a human. I mean, those are 2 different species. And one of them is related to a very fierce animal. So, yeah. It's better if you run. But she don't know that, so it's what it is. The point is that he lied, Hereta says. He was at the seamstress while Cordelia was being fitted. He passed 3 times. This isn't a coincidence. No, it's not, Andre says. I never believed that nonsense about mistaking Cordelia for someone else. He only said that he was caught. She weighs a game piece my way. You didn't believe him? I could tell. You didn't seem overly concerned either. Angie pauses and glances at her cousin, which isn't to make light of your concern, dear Hereta. Following Cordelia on 2 separate occasions suggests more than a casual interest. She will need to deal with him. Which I will. Okay, so she will deal with him. Actually, no. I'll ask Lenora's advice. Hereta still looks worried. With a sigh, Audrey finishes her game and sweeps the pieces aside. You can't win them all. Hereta says, pausing to kiss the top of her cousin's head. I'm just gonna... What? Okay. I smile. That wasn't Audrey's sound of defeat. It was her sound of dissatisfaction. The game ended too soon. An easy win. Indeed, Audrey says. Come play chess with me. Hereta, I require a challenge. What about Cordelia? My darling Cordelia presents entirely the wrong sort of challenge, one where I must constantly be on guard against her cheating. Cheating is a valid strategy, I say. If I'm caught, I failed. Otherwise, a win is a win. Oh, so she's of that mentality. Okay. All right. If you get caught, let bygones be bygones. I glanced, ignored her. Sit. Hen. Called her a chicken. Play me. I glanced towards the mental. I glanced towards the mental clock. If Lenore returns to find me entertaining my friends, she might test that suffocation spell on me. I need to get rid of them, but if I rush them out, they'll be suspicious. I sense into a seat. I think up an excuse, or that's my plan. But the moment my mind wanders, it heads straight into forbidden territory, like a sheep seeing the gate left open. I met a werewolf today. Of course, it makes sense that he was a werewolf. Between his musky, that's right, he stunk. He was a stunky man. Stunk. That man stank. He stank, man. He stank. Musky scent and a vice-like grip. I know I know werewolves are strong. And while I never heard anyone mention the musk, it'll take a high degree of olfactor accumulativity. I know I butchered that word. I ain't gonna lie. I know I butchered that word. Acuity to detect it. What else do I know about werewolves? They can transform into wolves. Obviously. I mean, werewolves, they can turn into wolves. It's in their name. That's like saying, I know firefighters deal with fire. I wonder why. Like, what are we doing here? Hmm? Obviously, large canines that look like wolves. Other than that, my knowledge nestles deep in the land of legend and rumor. Vampires and werewolves usually exist outside the supernatural community. Some supernaturals might hire one for their special skills, but they are otherwise objects of mistrust and fear. Witches and sorcerers, half demons, and necromancers. We can all hide very easily in the human world. Yeah, because you guys are humans with black magic. That's what you guys are. You're a car salesman, you know. You can look human on the outside, but on the inside, whatever you're trying to sell, whatever you're trying to produce, we know you're a 10. Not all of them have good attention. Just saying. I apologize if any car salesman is actually watching this video right now. I apologize. I'm sorry. Werewolves and vampires can't. They're less human, monstrous. My mother was always careful to say that while they can be monstrous, we should not paint an entire species with one breath. Lenora has always been less generous, especially when it comes to werewolves. Since Lenora refuses to deal with werewolves and shuts down any conversation about them, I know little. I've heard that the Albion pack has an estate outside the city, and like wolves, they mostly live communally. I believe the Albion pack also has a London residence. I forgot they were actually in Britain. I ain't gonna lie, I forgot. That keeps the city safe from lone wolves who aren't as disciplined as their pack brothers. Loners sulk. Loners skulk through as quickly as they can, except Bishop Daniels. Had Harley been skulking, is he allowed in London because he's here on my father's business? Given permission to trespass on pack territory? My father, not a perfumer, which means my keen sense of smell doesn't come from Cordelia, Audrey says, frowning. Are you all right? My month lies, I say. She only nods in sympathy. There's a wonderful thing about dear friends. One can say such things as freely as mentioning a sore throat. When Angie returns her attention to the game, mine flies back to my thoughts. I presume Bishop Daniels was a lone wolf, but he walks about London as if he owns it. He works for my father, but werewolves rarely associate with other supernaturals. My father isn't a French perfumer, which means I didn't inherit my sense of smell from him, except I did. The perfumer part being my mother's explanation for my refined sense of smell. Well, she lied to you. I'm sorry. And my other little oddities. Why can I see well at night? Why I'm filled with relentless energy, always needing to move more, eat more, forever driven by something I can't name. I'm not inviting you to the barbecue. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm not inviting you to no barbecue. She'd be eating all my food at this point. Why I'm always hungry? Forever driven by something I can't name. Things my family always chalked up to flukes of nature. When I caught Bishop Daniels' scent, this is so weird. It felt as if I found something, an itch finally scratched. As if I spent my life searching for that particular smell. That must mean my father isn't just a supernatural, he's a werewolf. And Bishop Daniels works for him. A werewolf frightens my fearless aunt, despite him not being more than a few years older than me. A man like that isn't going to work for a mere supernatural. He isn't going to work for a mere werewolf. Also, for what I know, werewolves only work under one of their kind, the Alpha. My father is the Alpha. It doesn't say that here, but I'm just assuming that it's going to say that soon. A click in the back of my skull. At first, I'm mistaking it for puzzle pieces clicking into place. But when I'm on my feet, the wards have been broken. Lenora is home. I'm sitting in the parlor with my friends. When I'm supposed to be hiding in the locked room, I murmur an excuse to Audrey and Herita as I stride from the room. I need to intercept Lenora. My aunt might be on personification of composure, but if that composure even ripples, she'll be annoyed as if she's thrown a tantrum in front of humans. I'm sorry. Warn her, explain, apologize. I just need. The hall is silent. I hurry down the stairs as fast as I can, but when I reach the bottom, the front door is still shut. No one is there. I mentally poke for the ward. Gone. Did Lenora undo it and then get delayed on the steps by a neighbor? I have absolutely no doubt that I recast it correctly after letting my friends inside. I might be on the dregs of my spell power, but I've been extra careful and I poked it afterward to be sure. Staying along the wall, I ease towards the front door and then I tug the drapery just enough to see the steps. No one is there. My heart rate picks up. This isn't possible. Only Lenore knows the keys to snap my ward from the other side. But if she undid it, she wouldn't be more than pause to answer a neighbor's greeting. She wouldn't let anyone lure her off the steps. Another witch could break the wards, but only from the inside, and no witch could sneak in. When every opening was sealed, I squeezed my eyes shut. Somehow, I made a mistake. That's the only explanation. Everything is fine. I need to reward the door. Except the snap hadn't been the door. The wards are coming. The wards are connected like a spider web. I could unlock either a single one, as I've done to let my friends in, or the whole web. The snap Al felt told me the entire web had disintegrated. All the doors and windows need resealing, and my spell power hasn't been replenished enough for that. I take a deep breath. I can handle this. Lenore has trained me well. I made a mistake with the wards, and I can chastise myself for that later. Begin by sealing the doors. Start with the most obvious entrances, and no. Start by getting rid of my friends. The wards, the doors, and the street level windows. The windows have a power level? You have a power level? I know that. And continue on as my energy refills. There, I have a plan. I exhale as some of that hovering panic drains away. No, start by getting rid of my friends. Actually, no, I already said that. I'm not ready to face an actual threat. I thought I was, but even with this warding slip up makes me realize how lucky I am that the threat is only looming, not actually upon me. I am in no way ready for that. I hurry up the stairs, stride down the hall, throw open the paler doors, and the room is empty. I look left and right, as if my friends could be concealed in a corner. They aren't. I frown and survey the paler. They must have left to find me. I was gone too long, and my gaze catches on the chessboard. One piece lies on its side. Others aren't where they should be. It's as if pieces had fallen and someone had hastily righted them, missing that one. My friends didn't just leave their game to come after me. They rose quickly, as if startled, or they were grabbed. The game board jolted. I whirl, my gaze sweeping the room. I didn't make a mistake. Someone broke my wards. Someone is here. Someone came after Audrey and Hirita, and I'm not prepared for this. Not even a little bit. Stop. Breathe. Think. How could someone grab them both? She basically just pulled a Homelander. No, no, is that Homelander? No, 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 that's Omni Man. Oh yeah, I know the words. Think, Cordella. Think. I just have to say that. I'm sorry. I just have to say that. How could someone grab both of them easily, leaving only a disrupted board? Audrey would scream, shout if she had to. A werewolf couldn't get both of them silently out the room against their will. That requires magic. I don't have time for these games. You need to come with me. What if Bishop Daniels was telling the truth? What if the threat doesn't come from him? I still inhale deeply, trying to catch Bishop Daniel's scent. There is no trace of it. I'm turning, I'm looking, I'm listening, and when I stop, I try to smell whatever Bishop Daniels was here. Okay. Can you imagine like seeing her just like just sniffing around the place? I could use that sense to find Audrey and Herita. If I'm right, my father is a werewolf, while I clearly don't have his strength or his ability to transform. Not yet. I might have a gift I never used. You always used it. You just didn't know you had it. How are you gonna admit that? Hey, I always had a good sense of smell, but hey, it's not a gift for my family. I never knew I had it. No, I always know. She claimed that she had a special gift, and that was her sense of smell. Now she's claiming that I have a gift I never used. Yeah, for this particular situation, but you have used it before. Don't deny you just did it. Just not in this current context, but you have used it before. The ability to track someone by scent, and if I find that someone, well, I'll fight. I can handle this. I resist the impulse to run into the hall, searching for Audrey. And Herita, use my nose, yes, but also my head. I can't endanger my friends. I never noticed Herita's scent. Haven't known her for long, and for what I can recall, her scent is lemon from the Thomas family laundry soap. But I know Audrey's scent. It's the same lemon mixed with the subtle note that she's her personal odor. I easily find that in the air. I head to the door and inhale, only to be reminded that I'm not a werewolf. I barely picked up the traces of Audrey's scent. I close my eyes and inhale. The traces seem to come from the right, in the direction of the stairs. I roll my steps carefully to avoid the board that creaks. I was 14 when I came here, old enough that back home my mother gave me freedom to roam. I lost that freedom in the city, and I used to sneak out on my own. I know every board that might creak and give me away. I stop at the first door, the library, and inhale. Audrey said continues on. The door leads to a small storage closet, and when I step past it, I lose her scent. They're in the storage closet. They wouldn't their attacker have gotten them out of the house unless they just wanted them out of the way by putting them in the storage closet. I step toward the door and then pause. Should I lead them in there and deal with the threat? Tilting my head, I strain to listen, but I hear nothing. In the hall, I sense Audrey in a second faint odor that I recognize as Herita. That what I don't smell, a third person. That gives me pause. Does this intruder know I have a well-honed sense of smell, so they avoided perfumes and pomades? I can't take hold of the doorknob quietly twist. My fingers twitch as I ready a knockback spell. I used them before in front of Audrey with a hidden flick of my fingers. Anyone who comes too close to us falls back as if stumbling. She never notices anything odd about that. What if I need to use stranger magic? What if I need to use stronger magic in front of her? That's that's what I'll need to do. I never let my friends be hurt rather than expose myself as a witch. Stop. A woman's voice from the inside the closet. I push the door, letting it in the whole light as I lift my fingers. Audrey stands there, staring at me, wide eyed and frightened, with Heretta hiding behind her, holding tight. No, Heretta isn't hiding behind her cousin. She has one hand around Audrey's waist while the other presses a blade to her throat. Who is Heretta? That's the end of chapter 3. Who is Heretta? I'm very intrigued. I'm very intrigued. Well, if you haven't already, see you in chapter 4. Peace.